Hi all, welcome back to YouTube channel. Let's start rebooting of using UiPath. So hope everyone is doing good. So we have come up with a new kind of a series which is kind of a communication miming. So it's gonna unlock your potential of automation to the next level. So in this communication miming sessions, we're going to discuss everything in detail from step by step, where you're going to start from the discovery phase to the end of automation. So we have already collected some use cases which you're going to use in our demo sessions. So in these sessions, we're going to discuss about what actually is this NLP, so what actually is a communication miming, so how it basically works, and what are the things need to be trained, what is active learning. So all this concept we're going to learn in our upcoming sessions. So stay tuned, watch all the videos, don't skip any, so that you can get the continuation of all the stuffs. So as a session one, so we're going to discuss what actually the NLP means and how it works in the communication miming and what actually the communication means basically. So without wasting much time, so let's quickly kickstart our day one session of communication miming. So these are the supporting links which you're going to refer in our today's session. So which is just already opened over here, where NLP which basically help us to convert all the unstructured data into a structured data which can be taken action. So this is a key role of an NLP over here. So you can see how the NLP has been used across the enterprise, right? So let's assume in a real-time scenario, you're getting a mail, so which is kind of a ticket details where you're gonna respond to the customer. So you're gonna use a normal RPA automations where the bot was not able to recognize and understand what actually plays in the mail since it is an unstructured one. So let's assume if you're going to use the communication miming over there, so with the help of the NLP engine, you're going to identify the each every labels and going to take an action across the particular request. So this is where the communication miming take place and satisfy the customers. So here you can see the customer reach out for something and then they will be dropping a mail and the problem. So all this kind of a stuffs will be rectified when you're going to use the NLP engine. As I said earlier, it's gonna structure all the data which is in an unstructured format. So I just noted over here, we'll be having a huge number of volumes and the exponential growth. So you can use this in a multiple channel. So if you're gonna get this particular stuff in kind of in a Salesforce, it can be addressed. If you're gonna get this in an email, so which can be addressed. So that's why it's saying that multiple channels where you're gonna place the NLP on top of that, gonna filterize all the unstructured data and gonna actionable structured data to the comms miming, so where it can take place and perform all the actions over there. So here what actually the exponential delivery of those stuffs. So when we're going to use this communication ring, what is the profit and how we're going to attain the next level of an automation. So all these things has been tracked over as in a percentage. So here, so how the NLP solution so help to solve the challenges. So you can understand so what are the customer wants. So for an example, so if the customer is rollouting a mail, so which is kind of a medicine which he required. So he's just sending that what are the medicine is required and what are the quantity and which date it need to be delivered. So all these stuffs, if you're going to use an RP automation, it will be not able to recognize since it can be shuffled anywhere inside the email of body content. So you're going to use the NLP with the help of the label concept, going to pick up all the data and going to structure and going to send across to the comms miming. So where the comms miming is placed is kind of an active learning. So let me come to the part next. So what are the difference between the comms miming and the ML model which currently using on? So here where the NLP is help us to track and measure all the service demands in the real time and help us to automate the particular request. So these are the steps what how the comms miming actually works. So let's take an example which is an email as a service which you're gonna get the all the kind of a requests. So for an organization you'll be getting an email request, kind of a delivery, or it's kind of any kind of a business you will getting the channel as an email. Okay, so you're getting all the requests via the email, so where it's going to categorize all the steps and send across to the automation. So here this particular part, so where you're going to read the emails and send to the automation process is kind of a manual stuffs which has been currently done by the human. To automate these particular stuffs, we are going to use this communication miming on the top, which gonna eliminate this particular task which is currently doing by the humans. So here basically with the help of the AI is going to categorize all the stuffs. If something needs a human intervention, so it has to validate the particular label has been correctly identified or not, it will be routed to the human, else it will be directly routed to the automation queue where RPA automation, normal automation takes place over there. So here, So these are several phases which basically in the complex miming. So before jumping to that, let me give you a detailed view about what actually the active learning and what is the use of the ML model which is currently using over there. Okay, so if you're going to use an ML model, let's assume. So what actually you'll be doing? So you'll be go to the AI center, and then you will be creating an ML model. So all the steps which you have to create, right? So here you're going to have to go to your AI center, and then you're gonna create your new projects and then train data. So all the steps you have to do, and then trainings, when you're gonna get the new kind of data, so you have to train it. So until unless you're not training that, you cannot get the accuracy in your workflows, right? So where actually you have to keep on retrain all these stuffs, which makes your accuracy on the top. So this is kind of an ML models approach. So where you're going to use active learning, which is nothing but a communication miming. So where you're going to create a chain or creating a tunnel with the email ID and all the stuffs, it's going to perform a continuous action, a kind of a continuous learning, which take place and keeps the model as a trained to the accuracy. So let me go here and just take a view over here. So you can clearly see here, right? So email or ticket or service desk, all the stuffs kind of a customer channel which currently they are using on. So with the help of the communication miming, gonna discover all the stuff. So when I say discover, what kind of a request is, so which kind of a channel we got this particular request, email or ticket, and then based upon that gonna train that. So it's kind of an active learning. It's gonna keep on training once you created the tunnel between those. And then so we're going to validate. So initially we're going to validate all the response, whether this response has been correctly identified by the communication miming or not. So all the stuffs we're going to be doing in the earlier stages. After that, going to adapt the active learning stage and going to be continuously trained with the help of the data set which you're going to connect that. So here, once it is done with the communication miming process, it can be routed to the RPA process or any other automation stuff which you're going to use on. So similarly, you can have a detailed view over here. So in respect to the channels, we'll be getting the request. So based upon that, what are the internal steps has been occurred in the communication miming. So which is unsupervised learning. So and then discover train. So when you say unsupervised learning, so it will be not able to recognized by default. So let's assume. So if you're gonna get the data set, so if you are the labeled and if you are unlabeled. So when I say labeled and unlabeled, so labeled which is kind of a trained already, and unlabeled which is are not trained already. So which is a new to the data sets. So those all be called as a unlabeled. So here which is unsupervised is kind of a similar stuff which is not a trained one. So it takes all the unsupervised learning and then discover and train it. So after that it's going to be published as a report and then validate and deploy this particular model in your project. So in this way you can use communication miming as an intermediate layer before your RPA process. So let me go the discover phase. So how it looks like. So here, so you can see, right? So this is kind of a discover phase, refund and then complaint. So we'll be having a multiples of subjects. So this is kind of an email subject which I just captured here. So refund. So this particular customer want refund. So here the labels which you can see over here. So New York. So it is able to identify is kind of a city, right? So similar way it's gonna recognize all these kind of airports, and so respect to the label it's gonna recognize the data set and pick all the data and store it in a consolidated way. So you can see here we have London. So all this Washington, Singapore, these are kind of landing airports. So which is a label, and then we are gonna discover those initially. And here you can see what actually the label for this particular task is refund, refund, refund. So what actually it has identified, so these all the requests irrespective to the wordings which we have over here inside this, so these are all categorized as a refund request. So that's the key area which you have to see over here. And then when you go here, so we can able to get the confidence score. So what actually it is confident about the data which is classified. So here the refund request, so it was pretty sure that this particular emails content which you see over here, it's a kind of a refund request up to the 95%. So we can clearly see over here, right? So similar fashion, once you are set up already your communication miming and then posted your taxonomy, all the stuffs, so we can able to train that. Based upon that, it's gonna train actively by itself. So once you are trained around like 20 or 30 data, it will be with the help of those, it will try to recognize the other stuffs with the help of the sample data set which you already trained. So let me go here. So here you can see how the communication miming interrupt the message and extract the data over here. So this is the email content which you can see over here. So this is subject, creator, all the stuff has been here. So here the extraction. So how we're going to extract all the data and put it in a structured data sets. So here it has been classifying the chaser. So what are the email chaser and what are the tone and then what entities. So you can see over here what are the policy number. So it has been extracted the policy number, date of previous contact and the new address. So all the stuffs has been extracted correctly with the help of this NLP engine. So that's a key area which you have to see in the communication miming. So once you're done all your stuffs, so you're going to validate your model, so which you're trained, which you're discovered, trained. So we are going to validate all the models, and based upon that, we're going to get the accuracy. If you're going to get the excellent accuracy, you have well and trained in all the ways of a training model. So as I say, all the ways, we have several ways of training the data sets. Let's help you out in a later point of session. So what are the different ways we're going to train it up? But we have several ways to train all those data sets. So when it comes to here, so yeah, they have detailedly discussed about how it works, so which I just elaborately discussed now. And then so once you got analyzed, so we can be able to get so how it's gonna classify and how it's gonna analyze the data with the accuracy level. So we can see all those in the graphs. And so these are the steps where you find this particular communication miming first of all. So once you go to your tenant, so it should be your office account, so that you can get this as an administrator one, or you should have an enterprise license, so that you can able to see this communication miming stuffs. So in my account I have communication miming which you see over here. So once you click this, so what actually basically it will make you to create the data sets. So once you're done with that, you can land on this particular panel. So for my particular project, I just created as a IT desk. So these are several models which you're going to discuss detailedly in the next sessions. So train, discover, explore. So what are the ways you're going to discover all the data sets? And then how are the ways you're going to train all the data sets? So all the stuffs which you're going to discuss in a detailed way. So before that, I just planned you to just have a view with this particular UI, how it looks like. So these are all the stuff. So we can see all the labels, all the stuffs, and then we can able to get the values also over here. So once you have trained our data sets, so currently I didn't upload any data sets. So once I refresh, it will be asking me to upload the data set. You can see that. Yeah, see, it was asking to upload the data sets. So for this, we have to have a taxonomy, data set, and then labels. So these are the three primary stuffs which we use in the communication miming platform. So which I just already have in my data sets. Let me show you that. So these are the several stuffs. So which is taxonomy templates. So which we have to discuss, and then label tables. So what are the exercise which you're going to perform over here? So this is the entire exercise. I'll just give this particular document, so you have to skim through the entire document, and then so we have to understand what are the business case. So based upon the business case, you're going to build up our communication miming project. So this is the key area which you have to understand entirely, and then you have to start building all those stuffs. So as I just said, so you can just find your communication miming in your cloud platform. So once you're launched, you can create a new project. So don't do any stuff, just create a blank project, so you can upload the taxonomy, all the stuffs by learning in the next sessions. So I hope you have got a better ideas of what actually the communication miming, so what is NLP, how this working in the interrelated ways, and what are the difference between the active learning and what are the difference between the ML models. So in the next session, we can start our doing our taxonomy, labels, and uploading the data sets. So how we're going to train all the stuff. We're going to discuss our next session. I hope you like this session. Thanks for watching. Happy learning. Have a good day.